Hello, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. Mass murders are becoming all too common in America. According to the Congressional Research Service, there has been 66 mass shootings in the U.S. between 1999 and 2013. Tragedies that left 547 innocent people dead. In the most recent shooting at a Texas church, shooter Devin Patrick Kelly was known to be mentally unstable. But what drives people like Kelly to kill strangers wholesale in a seemingly senseless way? What's the psychology behind mass shootings? Psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig and psychologist Catherine Smerling are joining me today to talk about just that. Very sad day. I don't know. I can't remember a time in the U.S. where, these mass killings just come every other week. But let's talk about the Texas shooter. What's your take on his mental state?
Well, clearly, he was a very violent, volatile man who had a mental health history, and he's somebody who was not treated. The proper interventions were not made. So his anger and rage spiraled way out of control. There's an interesting new recent study that was not the case when I was writing my book on marital homicide, where there's a connection between domestic abusers and mass shootings.
Wow.
And so we should really start to look at domestic abusers in a slightly different way. But yes.
Now let me ask you, Doc. One of the things that has been associated with his history is his presence in the military. Does people in the military or people that have gone through a military training or to war, are they more at risk of developing, let's say, mental issues that could lead to violence?
I don't necessarily think so. I think that this particular person was actually kicked out of the military.
Right.
But he had a history of abuse and a history of violence. And of course, he was able to shoot very well because he learned in the military. But I don't necessarily think that being in the military, people in the military are usually very responsible.
Right.
That's quite different than having PTSD or anything else associated with combat. This was a very disturbed person right from the very beginning. I'm sure that he was an abused kid at home, because abusers are often those who abuse.
Sometimes, you can be mad at somebody, okay?
Right.
Hey, that person hit me, or that person took my parking spot, or whatever it is.
Yes.
There's a reason there. But when you go into these mass shootings and you're meeting strangers that didn't do anything to you, and many of them, you can see
Well, that's how the healthy person looks at it, right? The healthy person looks at it is, oh my gosh, these are innocent people. They didn't do anything wrong. But to the mass shooter, there's intense rage and there's envy about the other. These other people are happy. These other people are hypocritical. These other people, they don't have the problems that I do. Very often, mass shooters are injustice collectors.
Right.
And they're angry at the masses. So there's that component where everybody doesn't have a right to live because the mass shooter is angry with others in general. And then there's this feeling of just intense rage where killing one person's not enough. There's a desire to feel this intense, powerful feeling that you can eliminate people so that you can regain a sense of feeling good about oneself.
We tell a lot of people, if you recognize a behavior in somebody, ring the bell. But we never tell them what that behavior should look like. So why don't you guys tell me real quick 3 or 4 things that I, as let's say an individual, if I saw these types of behavior, I should say to myself, you know what, that person is maybe not, or somebody should look at that person because they're not behaving normally. So give me 2 or 3 examples.
I think the first thing is the ability to connect and the ability to look one's partner in the eye. If you see someone who can't look anyone in the eye and who's shuffling and seems to be have an internal monologue, that's someone that you should be a little wary of.
Somebody whose coping skills are impaired, so their first go-to is violence.
Right.
Somebody who likes the idea and will express ideas of wanting to off people Very often social media could be a sign, so when
Right.
we see people talking about violence on social media and liking the idea of offing people, that's disturbing. Someone who has fantasies of killing people and talks about it. Somebody who expresses that they are a definite danger to themselves or others. Very often people who kill will report a plan, but it's that we tend to live in that place of disbelief.
That
and
we don't-
also
right, that we
there
don't
are
see
group,
it.
there are a grouping of people who do express this and never act on it. So I think that's the challenge.
You both are prominent, psychotherapists, psychologists. How do we stop this madness?
I think
Easier said than done.
you want to
right?
take it first?
I'll take it first. And this is a wonderful question for me. I think we take the stigma away from mental illness
Right.
and mental health, and I think we make it available, and we normalize it. It is okay to see a therapist. It is okay to get help. It is okay to tell a friend, maybe you should get some help. I know a great place where you can get some help.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
the first step.
And
Robbie?
also teach emotional education so that we understand emotions and we're
Which
not
they don't
frightened
do in
by them.
schools.
They
No.
don't do that.
Right.
So hopefully they will.
All right. Well, that's great answers. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you.
It's a very important topic. And if you have a health question, send a tweet to me at Dr. Manny on Fox. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.